Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Music Motivation. I just played a huge concert yesterday. I was doing Rhapsody in Blue for the first time that I performed it with a group, which was really exciting. It was a concert with the Pocket Philharmonic. We also did a really cool version of the Walking the Dog Promenade by Gershwin, and it was a whole Gershwin program. We did American in Paris as well. So there's a lot of notes, a lot of tricky bits and things like that, and a really big program with a lot of clarinet happening on it, which was super fun and kind of led me to this idea of the title of this one is hopefully caught your attention a little bit about not doing your best. And it's so counterintuitive, but I think it's so super helpful for kind of performance anxiety. I think a huge component of where the performance anxiety comes from is this really raising of expectations. And I felt it a little bit on Rhapsody in Blue in the concert in particular, where it's like, this is probably the most iconic clarinet solo in the repertoire, and I'm doing this and so often in our playing, and this is why I really like playing contemporary music, because nobody knows how it's supposed to go and nobody can tell if you make a mistake as long as you kind of line up and end together, which of course I'm not saying it's okay to make mistakes just because it's contemporary music. That's not the goal at all, but it reduces the pressure a little bit if you know the audience isn't going to know if you make a mistake. When you're playing Rhapsody in Blue, every single person in the room is going to know if you make even a little bit of a mistake. So the pressure gets a little bit higher from the audience, and it's really easy to kind of let your expectations kind of go out of control of like, oh my gosh, this has to be like the most amazing thing that they've ever heard, because they are all going to know how it goes and they're all going to know if I make a mistake and I have to do it 110% perfect. And then you can feel the anxiety kind of ramping up. And I think if you accept in a performance that you don't have to do the very, very, very best that you've ever done. You should be practicing and preparing really well and feeling confident and knowing that you can do it well. But I think the moment you try to do better than you've ever done before and try to go for your 110% best, I think that's when the expectations get too high, the nerves really ramp up. And then it just feels disappointing, and you get that kind of disappointed performance feeling rather than a satisfying performance feeling. And that's something that I've struggled with a fair amount in the past. I think I've mostly solved it through this idea of I go into performances and I say, I'm going to do average. I'm going to shoot for my average performance of this. And usually that works out better than if I shoot for my very best performance of it. So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about here. It's like, I know the title says don't do your best. In performance, don't try to do your best. That's legitimately the advice that I'm giving you and the little bit of motivation. So if you have a performance that's coming up for you, in the performance, don't stress about doing your very best. On the flip side of this, though, very important caveat to this is when you're in your practice, really try to do your best. Almost every single rep that you do in practice, try to make it the very, very best quality you can, the most expression, the most accuracy possible. Because when we kind of flip the script a little bit, and instead of like, well, in practice I can make mistakes, and practice is for making mistakes, and the mistakes you make in practice are very valuable. We've talked about that a few weeks ago in the Monday Music Motivation. But in practice, the mistakes are valuable for learning because you're trying to be your very best and you're working out your very, very best. And if you can practice at kind of 110% quality, then relax a little bit in the performance and end up at 100% quality with much less anxiety, much less nerves, and feel satisfied after the performance rather than disappointed. That's a win to me. So this is a little bit abstract and a little bit tricky to think about, but I think that the takeaway is expectations through the roof in practice, just relax to average expectations in performance. And the cool thing about this too is if you're always practicing with those extremely high expectations, then you truly can just sit back and play an average practice run through in performance, and your average practice run through is actually pretty darn good. So hopefully this is making sense. Again, it is a little counterintuitive. I like to give you some food for thought and kind of shift the way you're thinking about things a little bit in these Monday music motivations. Definitely leave a comment if you're confused about that or feel like that doesn't seem plausible to you. I would love to kind of elaborate and clarify some things as needed. But of course, this wouldn't be a Monday music motivation without filling out your practice template. So you can go to quickstartclarinet.com/get started, which the link is in the description for, or just create it for yourself. Date for the week, reflection of how things are going, goal for what you want to accomplish this week, and then your plan for when you're going to make it happen and what you're going to make happen, so that you can then take that plan, put it in your calendar, put it in your planner, set the reminders so that you actually show up and do the work and move forward towards your small goal for this week, small goal for the next week, small goal for the next week, and keep moving forward, keep progressing, and being the best player you can be in your practice, so that you can just relax and enjoy in the performances. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week on the next Monday Music Motivation. Have a fantastic week and happy practicing. Bye.